equivalent to a foreign farming means. We finally made it. We're always running a little bit late. This is Frank. He's a long-time subscriber, and we just met him today. He's asked me to come out and do construction videos on his house for, I don't know, like a year and a half, 2 years, yeah. And I don't know, I always had bona fide excuses why not to do it, and never did. And he's in country now, so we decided we're just going to go visit him and meet him. And so we've come out here to their place. They're near Ubai, and Frank's giving me the nickel tour here, and he's got a beautiful piece of property. If there's wind noise, I apologize, but we're right next to the ocean, and that's the big plus on this property is he's right next to the ocean. But he was showing me some things here, and I wanted to share with you guys. You know, when I talked to Gabriel, because Gabriel lives right on the ocean, he showed me how far the water had come up, and his storm surge was only like 6 feet. But here in Ubai, now I'm just guessing, what are we vertically, 15 feet above that water, Frank?
I was going to say at least 12, right?
Yeah, 12 to 15 feet vertical above this water. When the typhoon came, the water, he's been told, was about 3 feet high in his house. Enough to break the windows out of his house and flood the house. So there's at least a 15, maybe 18-foot storm surge here in Dubai. And he had this nice cement railing here, and all that's left is some form bar, and this top part, that was all, both sides, all taken out. It's amazing how much power that this storm had. It's high tide right now, and again, so this is high as the water normally ever would be, and to go up 15 to 20 feet higher than what it is, I had no idea the storm surge from Odette was that high. This is my first real experience with it. And he was also showing me here, his property line used to be straight. Came along here, and those are his steps over there. I would assume you cut that out, right, Frank? You cut that out for the steps there?
That was kind of a natural decline, so we chose that spot to minimize what we had to do. Yeah, we cut that out.
All right, so straight little property line here, and a big, I don't know, about 20 feet? 15, 20 feet? All torn out.
This used to be straight.
From the waves. All this was taken out. Those are some pretty big waves today for the ocean around here. I just love that sound, don't you?
It's normally a lot calmer, but this is very soothing.
That is just a great sound. So Frank was telling me you're thinking about putting a deck on your house there?
I want to do something similar to what you did. We have all the rebar. We want to do columns. We want to do some type of decorative terrace, not a solid wall, something open, something we could climb up and sit out and just enjoy the view and the sounds and the waves. But basically for shade.
Yeah, well, we were talking before. Hans is in there also. He's another foreigner that we were talking with, and I was telling him that my rooftop deck is the best idea that I've ever had of anything I've ever done here in the Philippines. Now, they have aircon everywhere in their house. They've got a nice little air-conditioned house, but for us, we don't have like central air conditioning, and to be able to get up at elevation and have that constant breeze is just well, it's a blessing for us. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah.
And I think you will enjoy it if you put that up there. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, if you're up there on that deck and you're just looking out. I mean, I've got a pretty good view at my place,
right,
but
right.
Just think about it, Frank. That's your view.
Yep. A couple of islands. We went to the island the other day. That one was a nice little boat ride.
That one right back there.
We got squid, we got crab, we got some of that coconut wine. Leite's out that way somewhere. It really is a nice view, and at nighttime it's so cool.
Lights around and stuff.
It's just quiet, beautiful, and to have a drink up on the terrace would just be a nice thing to do.
I agree 150%. So this fence here is new, I would take it?
This was all the skin of all the coconut trees that fell down. Initially, our fence was nothing but bamboo. So when they milled the coconut lumber to build this and to use it for...
yeah, right back there, you can't really see. I know all the burnt out stumps and stuff back in there. I can't see what I'm filming, so I'm just trying to do the best what I can
the coconut
here.
Grove.
He had 40 something.
There was a 40 tree coconut grove out there.
And the typhoon blew down all of them, but two.
And after they milled the lumber, we used the skins to make the fence. And that's what you see right now. And it's just kind of haphazard and thrown together, but it works.
You know, haphazard and thrown together to me looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's you know, it's kind of basic, but it works.
I'm still blown away with that. Because it was only a couple hours. It was only a couple hour event, and that it could take out this much of your property here. It
did do us a little favor. This was pretty dense, and now we have a nice open view. This was very thick foliage that now is open. So
always look on the bright side, Frank.
If you want to call that a favor, do us a favor.
Well, who's this lady here? I know you. You look familiar.
Yeah.
You're that Rizzuto broad.
Yeah, I'm Mrs. Rizzuto. I'm guys and Buzz.
I just think this is a great view, a great place.
It is.
I think
you know what? Credit to the Rizzuto family.
It's because of Gladys we found this place.
Yes.
It's because of you?
Of course. It's so hot when we make this video.
But it's because of Brian we found the Rizzutos.
Yeah.
Ah, it's the tangled web we weave.
Yep. And I'm not sure if I'm happy or mad at you guys.
You don't know if you're going to give us a hug or send us a bill, right?
Right. No, I think I'm pretty
But
happy.
it is worth it right here.
I'm pretty happy.
This is just, I'm sure the wind noise is irritating to you guys, but this is just, I mean, you can smell the ocean, you can hear those waves, you can feel the breeze.
Look at that mountain, hill, whatever you want to call those places out there.
Where is that? What is that back there, Gladys?
What?
Those mountains there.
That's Pitugo.
Huh?
That's Pitugo.
Pitugo?
Yeah.
Is that an island?
Of us.
Huh?
Because the next area is
Somewhere out that way is Leyte.
Yeah, far back. I don't know. You probably can't see it on video, but far back there's a little sliver of gray there. Wow, this is cool, Frank. I'm liking it.
Maybe if I quit spending money, I'll actually be able to afford to live out here someday.
Well, good luck with that.
And use your imagination. We used to have a rooftop. It used to be pretty. It used to be green. It had hip roofs. Well, now we have to do something decorative. We got it back to being a solid building, but now we have to do something decorative. I'm not sure what that's going to be. We got to do something decorative.
Well, that's what's left of his roof there, and all along that fence is the roofing that was still on the property that they were able to, that hadn't blown into someone else's property. It's a shame, you know. This typhoon did a lot of damage, but with you, as in our case as well, that damage also translates into opportunity to kind of tweak things a little bit and make it, you know, something else has crossed your mind now on a construction concept. And so now you're thinking a deck up there, and I think in the end you'll have something that is better than what you had before.
And I got even a better concept. Her and his homes. And his home doesn't exist yet. So
Come on, Frank.
My home's going to be right there, and her home is going to be right here. Perfect. What more can you ask for? His and her homes.
If you say so. I'm liking it.
I'm all for it, Brian. Anyway, I'm really glad you guys came out today. It was fun
Well,
to meet
it was
you.
a pleasure to come out. Finally, I mean, I know they were valid excuses, bona fide excuses, but I know I gave you a lot of them of why I never came out here, but they were,
You knew better.
well,
It is so far out here. This is so far off the beaten path. It's just,
part of it was because you weren't here.
yeah.
The other part is trying to find it. I mean, getting the directions would have been, look, I stress when I drive here. I don't know if have you driven much here?
Well, only through the dirt roads, and then Vem takes over, and she basically runs over all the
Well, yeah,
tricyclists.
yeah, okay, well, driving here is stressful for me.
Yeah, me too.
And when you compound it with trying to find some place with dodgy directions, it just, I can, you know, they say there's no blood pressure, high blood pressure has no symptoms. That's not true. Because when my blood pressure gets really high from frustrated driving, I can feel it. And so, you know, you get tired of you go down this road, third coconut tree on the right, turn, you know, and, yeah, there's just.
Our first day into town, we passed Pang Pang and went to Ubay. And Vem was driving, and she went down a one-way street, and our very first hour into town, we got a 100 peso ticket, and we had to go to the courthouse and pay it 2 days later.
Oh, yeah. And how long did it take you to find Jollibee?
Jollibee was an adventure. I think we passed it and came back, and passed it and came back, but now I know where you live, which might be a bad thing for you.
Nah, you guys can come over anytime. In fact, I'd like to, because you're kind of thinking about it for your place, I would like you to come by and experience our deck.
I would love to visit you.
It's an open invitation, and hopefully you aren't quite as flaky as I was, and you'll come out, because you're only here for another 3 weeks.
Another 2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks, and then you're going back home and rubbing elbows with the rich and famous, and this was Frank's test to come to the Philippines. I mean, you know, you'd think the testing phase would be over. That was my first thought, but this was like Frank's test to see if he's gonna really dig this place and have a fire sale and come back to the Philippines, right?
So I met my wife in the U.S.
Okay.
I did not.
Filipina, and Van is Filipina.
Vem's
Yes.
Filipino. She's from Manila. I did not know what the Philippines was like, and she always was telling me about the beauty of her country. So,
But Van's from Manila, right?
she's from a very busy suburb called Laram in Manila.
Okay, so
San Pedro.
so she was. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is she couldn't have been that familiar with province living,
No,
right?
she's a city girl.
Right, okay.
Now, maybe at some point in time that was also a province back in her day.
Perhaps, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But for me, this is a culture shock that you have to come into and see whether you can tolerate the differences between here and the U.S. And there's many differences.
Right. There's no Lowe's. There's no Home Depot. There's no Walmart. There's no. You know, you have to have the concept in your mind that less is more.
Willing to compromise, be creative. We had to make our own brackets. We couldn't even buy curtain rods for our living room curtain. We had to make them out of bamboo. You can't go to a hardware store and say, I need brackets for my curtains, because I don't think anybody really has that luxury here.
I don't know if I've ever seen any in the hardware store.
So we had to basically make brackets and curtain rods to be able to hang curtains. Very different atmosphere.
You know,
Anyway,
it is a trade. There are pluses and minuses, but
that's the beauty of it.
you know, I'm not going to put Frank's business on the street. He's not a millionaire. Let's put it that way. So, on a budget of someone from the West, there are pluses and minuses, and one of the big pluses is that you can have this on an average Westerner's means, right?
Well, to put a number on it, you're looking at basically $100,000, right?
Well within the reach of the vast majority of American, European men.
Could I live On the coast of California for $100,000? I don't think so.
No.
Coast of Florida for $100,000? I don't think so.
Well, you could buy enough beach in Florida to stand on maybe for $100,000.
But listen, you want to get out of the rat race? This is an opportunity to do that.
And wherever you're from, you're not going to see that.
Look at that. Yeah. And then listen to those motors.
They're racing. They got them cranked up, boy.
That's
Woohoo!
awesome. Hey, we love it. It's great.
To me, the Philippines isn't for everyone. To me, that's pretty cool. And what I'm looking at right now is pretty cool. And, in my case, it's a little bit different because I didn't come to the Philippines to retire. I came to the Philippines to continue work in an environment that just didn't make my head explode 24/7. I just could not take California anymore. And I can easily fit in because of my background and my upbringing. I easily fit into the Philippines.
Well,
It's not it for some people. Some people are going to go home screaming with their hair on fire. It's not for everyone.
If you want it to be, this is very low stress.
It's low stress, and if you're of retirement age or you've got some ideas to make a few bucks when you get here, you're not of retirement age. Look, I mean, there's things about the Philippines that cannot be beat. Plain and simple.
The first day we got here, we got stuck in our driveway because of the mud before we had the gravel.
And how many people came out of the woodwork to help you get out?
We had 20 people dig us out, push us out, and they were happy we were here. And the next day they brought us oil and flour and water and Cokes.
Exactly.
It means like we knew them for our whole life.
And I have told this, and you're originally from New York, and I have told this to people that I lived on streets in California for year after year after year and didn't know my neighbor's name.
Yep.
Never saw them. Now you might wave at them. You both happen to be pulling into the driveway at the same time. You might know their name. You might not know. You'll wave at them. Hey, how you doing? But that's about it. And here, strangers, absolute, never seen you before in their life.
They might not even have a roof or a door.
Yeah, but they'll help you out. I mean, just turn back the clock to when people were civilized. I don't know how else to say it. When they treated each other well with compassion. And they weren't so worried about having the money for the new car payment, the house payment, this payment, that payment, the other payment. They weren't so stressed over being in that rat race that they could enjoy other people's company and another person's smile. I mean, there's so much that the Philippines have to offer.
When they got done pushing us out, they were covered in mud and they were smiling and happy they could help. I go down to the beach, there's people hanging out with their families. Joe, and they're offering me rum, whatever it is they're drinking. They want me to go down my driveway. The people are waving. They want me to stop. They want me to, talk to them. Everybody's offering you something. They're very hospitable.
Hospitality, very hospitable, and you're going to find that. My experience with the Philippines is kind of limited. I mean, I'm not a world traveler or a Philippine traveler, but where I have been in the Philippines, that's been my experience 100%. That the people are nice, courteous, willing to help, just good folks.
Yep.
And that you could, I wasn't going to put it out there, but Frank did. $100,000, you've got a house, you've got a nice little piece of property, you got this view, you're all set up. And, that's...
I got a lifetime of projects to keep me busy.
Yeah, there you go.
Who knows? Who knows what I'll do next?
Frank was asking me, what kind of trees to plant? It's just, I was telling Frank, make this look like a resort, and you're the only guy with a key.
Perfect. Couldn't have stated that better, Brian. Because that's exactly what we want to do. Is come here and feel like we're on vacation every day for the rest of our lives.
Right? Exactly.
Walk down to the water, bring your beer, have a drink, come back inside, cool off, watch a video, go back outside and do it over again.
Keep the cupboard stocked with Jack Daniels. What more could you ask for in life, right?
And I love San Miguel, so what difference does it make?
There you go. Well, I don't want this to be an endlessly rambling video, so we're going to end this one up. But I would like to thank you, Frank, for inviting me and conversing with me, not being too shy to come on camera.
I'm excited to finally meet you after 2 years of bothering you to come out here. I feel like I know you guys because I've been watching you for 2 years, and I know your kid, your wife, you know, your whole family. So it's great to meet you in person.
Our life is an open book, and
it's great. It really is.
And it's a pleasure to meet you. The ribs weren't that bad. I'm telling you, the ribs weren't that bad. Don't beat yourself up. They were. I would eat them again.
Okay, well, great.
There you go.
We'll have you over sometime and you can try it again.
I would love to make you guys a burger, a real burger here.
Sign me up. Is there a list?
I'll keep it a secret, because if I let it out that I'm making burgers, then the foreigners come out of the woodwork, and pretty soon I don't have a big enough house.
Send me the private invite and I won't tell anybody else. I promise you.
There you go. Alrighty. Thank you, Frank. Thank you for inviting us out, spending time with us. We're not leaving, but
My pleasure.
I'm going to end this video up. Thank you, everyone. The possibilities in the Philippines. Look at that. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.